I was training 7 days a week, running consistently, and eating less than I ever had before. And I feel like I should be losing the weight. But there was a big problem. The scale was not changing no matter how hard I tried. And seeing all these transformations online of people losing weight in 1 month and changing their body completely, it literally made me envious. And I felt cut deep inside that is something wrong with me? Is there something wrong inside of me that I just can't look like how these guys look? I can't get the results on how these guys look. I can't get their results. It literally cut me deep. And I was wondering, like, I'm putting in all this hard work, all this effort. Why am I not getting the reward? There's something wrong here. And at that time, I thought, pushing hard and pushing yourself to the limits is the only factor for you getting results. I was training 7 days a week because I challenged myself that whole year I was going to lose weight and I was going to train 7 days a week. Truthfully, that's a lot of volume. So I was putting in the effort. I was eating at 1,800 calories. And if you don't understand how much that is, my maintenance was over 3,000. It was about 3,200 calories. So I was eating 1,400 calories less than my maintenance calories. So I felt like I'm literally starving myself. And I felt like, why am I not losing weight? This is ridiculous. And on top of this, I was running a lot. I was expending a lot of energy. And I didn't know why I wasn't losing weight. And I felt it like deep in my core that I feel like I'm putting in the work. I'm waking up and I'm tired. I'm not sleeping well. I don't feel sustained after eating and I'm not enjoying life at this point. It just feels like all the effort that I'm putting in, all this energy and time that I'm actually throwing at myself as a personal investment, I wasn't getting the return on it. And because the scale wasn't moving, I was fully convinced that my genetics or my body or something like my metabolism was the problem. I was like, bro, I literally feel like I cannot lose weight. Like it's me. It's me. Like I'm just not made to be lean. And then I remember this one day. It was a very specific day because this is the day where it all changed. I woke up. I did my usual routine. So I'd like lump myself out of bed, still tired. I woke up tired, threw myself out of bed, did my weighing schedule. So I'd go to the bathroom, take a piss, come back, and I'd weigh myself. I looked at the scale. I was very disappointed. It was 95 kilos. I was trying to get to 85 kilos from 100 kilos. So after months of cutting, I'd only lost 5 kilos. So disappointed. I looked in the mirror with my shirtless physique, and I was just staring there. I was like, is this even worth it, man? Like, what am I doing wrong? I was frustrated, man. Like, cause months going into this of effort and pain and struggling, and I knew that the same thing was gonna happen today. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna struggle. I'm gonna starve myself. It's gonna be the same routine over and over and over again. And I did something different. I didn't get on with my day. I sat there in my thought, and it appealed to me that Monday to Friday was not my issue. It was over the weekend where things actually changed and I really analyzed my routine. The weekend was where I really stacked on the calories and my routine was just out of whack. So everyone knows what a cheat day is. And Friday was my sort of cheat meal day. So I would have a poor meal for dinner on that day and I'd overeat a lot, like a lot more than I should have. And I probably wasn't eating 1,800 calories. My grandparents would come over, we'd eat like a nice big meal. The problem wasn't specifically Friday. It was Saturday and Sunday following that. I couldn't lock myself back into the routine quick enough for me to actually stay in the deficit week round. Saturday and Sunday were spent trying but very slowly accomplishing that deficit again. So I'd go for a run, I'd go to the gym, and then I'd just have a big meal after that. And looking at this weekly spectrum of like every single day I'm eating this amount of calories. I'm eating 1,800. And then on Friday I'm eating 2,500 or 2,800. And the next 2 days are still around that. I'm not accomplishing a big deficit like I thought I was. I'm accomplishing a much less significant deficit on an average. And this was what was ruining my progress and halting my progress. And I also realized that my diet wasn't just the problem. Not only did I analyze my diet, I analyzed my training and I compared it to what the research showed was actually best for weight loss. So when you're losing weight, the reason why you're training in the gym is not to put on muscle. And that's what I thought I was doing. I was like, more volume, harder work, more sets, more reps, more exhaustion at the end of the workout. That's going to lead to fat loss. Not necessarily. So the excessive reps, the excessive sets, training 7 days a week, not actually having recovery days, and not even hitting my steps daily was attributing to me not actually losing weight as fast as I should have been. So the big fix there was I adjusted the amount of sets and reps I was doing in a workout. I stopped judging based on exhaustion because that was like what I wanted to feel exhausted. And this fixed my issues a lot, but I was still struggling for a few weeks after that because I had a very, very predictable problem. Friday was always going to be there. I was always going to have my grandparents coming over and I was always going to be overeating. So how did I actually get around that? The previous pattern I followed was I would ignore the fact that Friday was coming around, right? I would try to starve myself as much as I could, and then I would eventually force myself to binge eat because I'm literally starving myself. This amazing food is in front of me. I'd binge eat it, and then I'd feel guilty over the weekend trying to comfort myself with food, and then eventually by Monday, I would be back in the workout routine, back in the dieting routine. That's completely skewed. So what I personally did was, firstly, it's not bad to have a cheat day if you prepare for it. And by cheat day, I really mean cheat meal. You shouldn't be having a whole day off your diet because one day where you're eating in a surplus of calories can get rid of a whole week's progress worth of cutting. I would also make sure I stacked up on protein before that dinner, and I would try and save over 1,000 calories for that meal so that I could eat, stay full, but also enjoy myself and be a bit selective of what I'm eating. And that was my structure for Friday. That way, going into Saturday and Sunday, even though I had those cravings from eating the food that was out of my diet, I could manage it because I didn't binge eat to the point where I felt full and then I felt guilty and then I had to recover from it. Because waking up on Saturday, I didn't feel like I had just thrown away my progress because I was still in my macros. I still had the calories and I hit my calorie goal of 1,800. Sometimes it was a little bit over, but it was never over 2,100. Like, I was close enough to the point where I was still in a pretty big deficit. And that is how I actually fixed my problem. Now, this is how you guys can get around a weekend. And this is the best strategy that I've come up with because I want you guys to understand, I was not preparing to binge eat. I was structuring my day so that I could fit that higher calorie meal in so that I could manage it with my diet. So I was still hitting my macros. I was still eating in my calorie deficit, and it's not preparing to binge eat. So the first week that I actually implemented this protocol, it was something quite special to me because it was the first Saturday in months where I had woken up, weighed myself, and I was actually lighter than the day before, even given that I had had that big meal and I didn't feel bloated. It was a good feeling. And that was the first week where I actually lost half a kilo and weighed myself on the Saturday. The whole week, my weight was just slowly climbing down. And my waist measurement started going down. And funnily enough, my performance in the gym skyrocketed. I felt like I had a lot more energy for the gym. And mostly that was because I lowered the volume and I had enough energy to actually focus and think. My form was on point. My effort and intensity was higher because I wasn't expecting to do 30 sets in the gym. I was in and out within 16 sets and I felt more sore than ever. So intensity and structured towards your diet is going to help you much more than just doing volume in the gym. And I stopped gauging my progress in the gym and my progress towards my diet and my cut I stopped judging it as my fatigue and tiredness, and I started judging my progress off actually feeling sore from the gym, and my weight and my progress in the mirror, I could actually track everything properly. So what this taught me, and what I hope you guys can take away from this, is the hardest fat loss plan, as in like the physically the hardest, the lowest calories that you can eat, is not always the best plan. I'm a big advocate for challenging yourselves and building up your discipline. But if it's something that you can only follow 4 days of the week like I did, it's not going to be beneficial, because those 3 days are going to tip the scale and you're going to end up just eating maintenance on average throughout the whole week. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys are struggling with weight loss specifically and following a structured routine and this video helped you, I want you guys to go ahead and watch this video. It's where I go over everything I did in my 3-month program and I show you guys my results. So from month 1 to month 3, how much weight I lost and how you guys can actually replicate it.